Hello and welcome. I'm Zai, and this is a hand-picked look at the upcoming horror games for 2026 and beyond. From big-budget AAA releases to indie horror passion projects, these are the games that genuinely caught my attention. I'll give you the release windows and platforms when they're available, but really, these are just the games I'm excited to dive into. There's no ranking here in no particular order, but at least that'll keep you on your toes, right? That's what we like as horror gamers, isn't it? If you're hunting for the next wave of titles that'll keep you up at night, you're in the right place. La Divina Commedia. I probably butchered that title, but I did my due diligence and looked up the pronunciation of it, and I tried my best. Developed and published by Giamma Games, the synopsis is as follows. Breach the depths of hell and battle demonic forces as a warrior poet who's been lured into and trapped within the underworld. It's a dark fantasy ARPG inspired by the famous masterpiece opera of Dante Alighieri. The game presents itself as a Souls-like game, with the trailer showing a battle between the main character and a demon. It makes me remember Dante's Inferno, which was released for the PlayStation 3 back in 2010. Hell's always a terrifying place in movies and books, and while the trailer keeps things pretty vague, it still suggests there's a ton of room for some really unsettling imagery. The sky's the limit, or in this case, the underworld is, when it comes to the sights this game might show us. While no exact release date has been set, there's a good chance it'll be out sometime in 2026 on all platforms.
With trepidation, this place wrong, this place not right.
You say that about every place.
With insistence, wrong.
Animal Use Protocol. Use? I'm not entirely sure. But out of every title on this list, I can't think of one with a concept as original as Animal Use Protocol. This first chimp survival horror has you set in the place of Pen, a hyper-intelligent chimpanzee leading the desperate escape of lab animals from a nightmarish facility. This title is able to cut the tension as you have a rat companion named Trip who talks to you through this thought-to-speech generator. This leads to some unconventional but pretty funny dialogue.
You are sure this is the right way?
With indignation, pathfinding, very good. Better than smelly hate. Better than run. Paralyzed in terror. Smelly hate, run. Run.
This game looks like what Half-Life would be if Gordon Freeman was the science experiment. The premise leaves the door wide open for some wild enemy and boss encounters. Definitely one to watch out for. Developed and published by the Brotherhood, it's scheduled for release in 2026 with no specific day or month listed. But it is set to launch on PC with potential releases for Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. Halloween the Game. Another asymmetrical horror game. I know what we're all thinking. Do you think this will be the one that sticks? We haven't had much luck with any asymmetrical horror game since Dead by Daylight. And that's looking at you, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Predator Hunting Grounds, Evil Dead, VHS, Last Year, Friday the 13th, Hide or Die, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Damned, Puppet Master. Wait, there was a Puppet Master asymmetrical horror game? Anyways, every time a game like this drops, you have to wonder what kind of new stuff it'll bring to the genre. It's always a blast to see the film's settings and have the ability to explore them. From what we know so far, there will be a single-player campaign that's recommended for play before the multiplayer, so there's that to look forward to either way. Do I think the multiplayer portion will end the popularity of Dead by Daylight? No. But it may be good for a year or two, and it's definitely on my list of games to check out in the coming months. And if I have to eat these words, believe me, I'll be happy about it. It's developed and published by Ilphonic. This game drops on September 8th, 2026. It'll be available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC on Steam and the Epic Games Store. Resident Evil Requiem. Now, this list isn't in any particular order, but if it were, I think most people would expect this title to be on the top of many lists. The Resident Evil series has been running on all cylinders, with Capcom releasing both remakes and new titles. Requiem appears to take us back to Raccoon City, where you play as FBI analyst Grace Ashcroft as she confronts her haunted past and uncovers the truth about the Raccoon City incident. The trailer suggests that she's looking into a serial killer targeting survivors of the incident and gets tangled in the web herself. The trailer shown at the Game Awards also revealed that Leon's making an appearance and zombies are returning as enemies in this installment. Resident Evil Requiem releases on pretty much all platforms on February 27th, 2026, alongside the release of Biohazard and Village on the Switch 2. And also, Resident Evil Requiem Fortnite skins? Really?
Fate not going your way? Change it all in the blink of an eye.
Grave Stakes. Ever played the Jackbox Trivia Murder Party where if you lose, you die? Grave Stakes feels like it's riffing on that energy. But instead of tapping answers on your phone from a couch, you're thrown into a first-person gauntlet of puzzles and minigames for cash. The twist? A murderous entity is watching every round, and anyone who slips up gets their run cut short. Sometimes literally, with a chainsaw, or any other number of creative executions. It looks like this kind of game would be terrifyingly fun with friends or absolute chaos for streamers playing with their community. Grave Stakes is developed and published by Wild West Games and is currently in playtesting, with its official release right around the corner on Steam. REANIMAL. REANIMAL is from the original developers of Little Nightmares 1 and 2, which is important to point out because while the first two were well received, the third Little Nightmares game, not so much. REANIMAL looks to have captured the same vibe. I haven't played the Little Nightmare series yet, but I have played games like Darque and Limbo and Inside. Let me tell you, while these games look cute, they don't pull any punches when it comes to the elements of horror, and it doesn't look like REANIMAL's going to either. The art style for these games have their own originality and charm, which I just adore. In this co-op horror adventure game, a brother and sister go through hell to rescue their missing friends and escape the island that they used to call their home. The game is being developed by Tarsier Studios and is published by THQ Nordic and Amplifier Studios. It's set to be released on the 13th of February 2026 for the Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series. Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. I bought the first Fatal Frame game for the PS2 the second I heard of its existence. I got frustrated with it to the point of stopping my playthrough because I wasn't aware you could refill your camera roll at the save points. Anyone ever done that? Just me? Anyways, I never got around to playing the second one, and now we have this new shiny remake that's releasing in 2026. The story follows sisters Miyu and Mayu Amakura as they're trapped in a ghost-filled village cursed by a failed ritual, which they're being forced to reenact. Gameplay follows Mio as she explores the village searching for Mayu, fighting hostile ghosts using the series' recurring camera obscura. With successful remakes from series like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, and Dead Space, I've got high hopes that this game will follow suit and will be equally as well received. The release date for Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake is March 12, 2026. The game will be released by Temco Studios for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC on Steam. Pre-orders are currently available for most platforms. OD. Look, I could wax poetic about all that could have been when it comes to PT and Silent Hills, I'm sure most of us can. And I'll be the first to admit that while I enjoyed Death Stranding, there obviously isn't a comparison. But OD, on the other hand, it looks like we got something promising in the world of Kojima horror. Also, Kojima Productions seems to have gained favor with a large handful of Hollywood talent, because he has no shortage of actors willing to join him in his creations. In OD, it looks like the main actress will be Sophia Lillis. We don't know too much about OD, release date included, but from what we've seen of it, it appears it's going to be in the vein of PT, or at least have some terrifying supernatural elements that are sure to be good. But like any Kojima game, the release date is as obscure as his plotlines. Kojima himself has recently come out to say that OD is something completely different from a standard horror game, and they still don't know if it'll work out. Okay, Kojima, keep your secrets. BrokenLore series. If you've never heard of the BrokenLore series, don't worry, I hadn't either. But this psychological horror anthology has been getting an increasing amount of attention, and for good reason. The developers, Serafini Productions, release these short-form story-driven horror experiences that almost feel like playable short films. 2 of their games are already out, Low and Don't Watch. Both are well received on Steam, sitting around the mostly positive range, and they typically run about 2 to 3 hours. Short enough to finish in a single sitting, but long enough to tell a complete story. And the series isn't slowing down. There are 3 more entries on the way: Unfollow, Ascend, and Don't Lie. The release dates vary, with some coming this year and others slated for next, but they all continue the anthology format. Standalone psychological horror stories that are connected by tone rather than plot. If you're into compact, atmospheric horror games that you can knock out in an evening, BrokenLore is definitely a series worth keeping an eye on in the coming months. Grave Seasons. So have you ever been playing Stardew Valley and thought, this could use a bunch of murder and violence? Yeah, me too. Enter Grave Seasons. On the surface, it's a cute farming sim with a wide variety of characters in a large town to explore. However, you're playing as an escaped convict. Oh, and also there's something or someone in the town that's killing its inhabitants. It'll be interesting to see how these 2 genres interact. Pixel art retro style with a isometric view, this game aims to please the horror enthusiast who enjoys a bit of farming sim every now and again. Does that sound like you? Grave Seasons is developed by Perfect Garbage and is published by Blumhouse Games. It's scheduled for release in 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and Nintendo Switch. Out Fishing. Speaking of odd pairings, next on the list is Out Fishing. Fish, sell, upgrade your gear, and build your camp in this first-person horror fishing game. Explore a haunted forest and uncover clues about a forgotten disappearance near the lake, but return before nightfall as danger lurks beneath the water. Combining your typical fishing sim with horror is an interesting take. I wonder if my dad would like this game. Out Fishing was slated for a late November release, but at the time of this video they've missed their window, so I'm assuming a 2026 release date, if not sooner.
Banish them.
Crisol Theater of Vitals. This is a gripping first-person horror and action title set in the world of Hispania, a nightmarish reimagining of Spain. The imagery for this game looks particularly disturbing as Daniel, the main character of the game, uses his own blood to utilize his weapons and ammo. That blood's gotta come from somewhere. This game delivers a highly cinematic horror experience with haunting enemies and a deeply layered story. Puzzles play a big role, and the lore is rich, rooted in the dark folklore and historical traditions of Hispania. I love the design of some of these enemies, and I'll definitely be on the lookout for this game in 2026. Developed by Vermilion Studios and published by Blumhouse Games. Silver Pines. Silver Pines is another game that looks truly unique from the rest. It's listed as a survival horror Metroidvania and has elements of film noir. The synopsis is as follows. Private investigator Red Walker finds himself in Silver Pines, a place half abandoned, half forgotten, in the middle of nowhere on a job to track down Eddie Velvet, a musician who's vanished. As the case begins to reveal a dark past, Walker soon slips into a strange and nightmarish descent beyond his control. I love the art style and I'm interested to see how they utilize the Metroidvania aspect of it. Silver Pines is developed by Witch Elm and published by Team 17. It's set for release in 2026 and will be available for PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and Nintendo Switch.
She is Hellbound. Follow her. For we have such sights to show you.
Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival. When I first heard there was a Hellraiser game coming out, my first thought was, great, another asymmetrical horror game that'll burn out and fade away like the rest. Can you tell I'm bitter? Anyways, I couldn't be more thrilled when I determined it to be a single-player, story-driven game. It's funny how that seems to be pretty much unheard of these days with popular horror IPs. Play the story of Aiden, who must use the power of the mysterious puzzle box, the Genesis configuration, to help his girlfriend Sunny's escape from the otherworldly hellscape of the Labyrinth. Wield the powers of the box and survive your bargain with the infamous Pinhead and do battle with the horrific cult devoted to the Cenobites. From the looks of the trailer, they aren't holding back from any of the gore-otica from the movies. I really hope this game isn't the reason Hellraiser was removed from Dead by Daylight. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival is done by Saber Interactive and is scheduled for release in 2026 on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. Mortal Shell 2. Look, we never got an official PC port of Bloodborne and I'm sad about that. But Mortal Shell 2 looks like it's going to bring some of that kind of fire to the PC and I couldn't be happier. I've never played the first Mortal Shell, but the consensus is that most people are looking forward to playing this one even more. The synopsis is as follows. Their flesh is your weapon. Mortal Shell 2 is a standalone sequel action RPG with adrenaline-charged high-stakes combat. Possess warrior shells, dethrone false gods, and redeem a ravaged world. Standalone being the key word here. It doesn't seem like you even need to have played the first one to enjoy this one. Mortal Shell 2 is developed by Cold Symmetry and is published by Cold Stack. It's scheduled to be released in 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. Dark Light Survivor. In a dying multiverse, the Phantom Train is your last hope. Traverse a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk world of nightmarish creatures. Experience dynamic shifts between top-down and third-person views, deep customization, and epic battles across universes in this action roguelike survival game. I really like the vibe of this game. The trailer shows enemies as tall as buildings running alongside hordes of demons, and they all want a piece of you. I also love the cyberpunk aesthetic mixed in with horror and VHS vibes. There's already a demo on Steam that you can check out today, and while their target window of Q4 of 2025 is closing quickly, it appears it won't be long before we're able to experience this game in its entirety. Developed and published by Miriani & Company, it's expected to release on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series. The Occultist. The Occultist is described as a first-person narrative thriller, and the trailer backs that up. It looks to be a very plot-rich game as the trailer brings us through a multitude of settings. Abandoned buildings, churches, forests, hospitals, theme parks, this game's got it all. You play as Alan Rebels, a paranormal investigator who travels to an abandoned British island after his father's disappearance. Explore Godstone Island, face supernatural entities, and uncover long-buried occult rituals. However, Alan does not travel alone. He carries with him his mystical pendulum, an object of unknown origin that accompanied him on all of his past paranormal investigations. As he explores the foggy streets and maddening buildings, apparently being the only things that remain on this mysterious island of Godstone, it becomes clear this case will be unlike any other. The Occultist is being developed by Dalar and published by Daedalic Entertainment, scheduled for release in 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series.
They tried to change me into one of them. But I became something else instead. Their worst nightmare.
The Blood of Dawnwalker. The Blood of Dawnwalker is a vampire RPG which has you in the role of Cohen, human by day and vampire by night. You're fighting to save your family in a story shaped by your actions and the secrets you uncover. It's set in 14th century Europe. Bloody conflicts sweep the lands and the Black Death comes for the survivors. It's a moment of weakness, and that's all they needed. Vampires seize the opportunity to walk out of the shadows and claim what they've been denied for centuries. Freedom and the power that comes with it. Other creatures of the night follow their lead. Legends turned into reality, and history as we know it will never be the same. It has some interesting features like a daylight meter and your health being directly tied to your blood hunger. We already have Vampire the Masquerade as an RPG, so it'll be interesting to see what they do to make this title stand out. The release date has not been officially announced, but it is slated for release sometime in 2026. The game is developed by Rebel Wolves and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. It's set to be released on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. DreadOut 3. Another DreadOut release by Digital Happiness. I played the original DreadOut game a while back and it was very memorable and had some awesome tense moments. I ended up skipping the second game, not because it looked bad or anything, it's just the way things turned out. But this release has me thinking it may be time to give it a shot. DreadOut 3 is a third-person horror adventure inspired by Asian-Indonesian urban legend. We rejoin Linda's journey as a keeper of the dark into an interdimensional rabbit hole to find the source of an unseen power threatening the balance of light and darkness. This spine-chilling sequel expands on the cult hit original, making DreadOut 3 another terrifying chapter in the world of the unseen. DreadOut plays similarly to Fatal Frame in that your weapon is your camera, though in this case the camera obscura is replaced by a modern-day cell phone. I guess ghosts don't want their photos taken. No official release date has been set, but it's slated for 2026 on PC, with some mentions of PlayStation and Xbox Series so far, but consoles have yet to be confirmed. Shadowman Darque Legacy. Shadowman Darque Legacy is based off the Shadowman comic books. For centuries, the Boniface family has carried a dark legacy, the mantle of the Shadowman, walker between worlds, sworn to preserve the veil between life and death. Now, novice Shadowman Jack Boniface is thrust into a path of growing evil that threatens everything his predecessors fought for. Building upon the decades of Shadowman tales told within the Valiant comics, this new chapter is an original story developed in partnership with Valiant Entertainment. Shadowman Darque Legacy has no confirmed release date and is currently delayed, potentially until the second quarter of 2026. The game is done by Blowfish Studios and is planned for release on PlayStation 5 and is also listed on Steam.
Why are you here? No, in this place, why are you here? Here to be punished.
Silent Hill Townfall. Can you believe it's been 3 years since the release of the trailer of Silent Hill Townfall? Because it wasn't until I saw the leaked release date of March of 2026 that I noticed that the trailer is 3 years old. So far, we don't know a lot about Townfall. The trailer is cryptic, and we have reasons to be wary about it. Silent Hill 2 Remake was great, and Silent Hill F was received well enough, but Silent Hill Ascension was a disaster. So we're what, 2 or 1.5 out of 3 so far for this new generation of Silent Hill games? Hopefully Townfall will be the tipping point, and really launch us into the golden age of Silent Hill games. It's being developed by a company called Screenburn, whose founders previously worked on Alien Isolation. I'm really hoping they bring some of that tension. And speaking of Silent Hill Remake. It's been announced that Team Bloober has teamed up with Konami yet again to take on the remake of Silent Hill 1. With how well the Silent Hill 2 remake was done and how much the community enjoyed it, I think we can expect more of the same from this title. We haven't had much in terms of screenshots or trailers, just the announcement so far, but I'm including it here because it's exciting nonetheless. Both Silent Hill games are published by Konami. The Twilight Project. You play as a tourist who gets lost in a forgotten village. As night falls, strange and terrifying creatures begin to appear, and reality starts to shift into something far darker. A third-person survival game where you can experience an intense story with a unique theme of horror. You'll need to survive the night, search for clues, and uncover the dark history behind this cursed place. Some secrets should stay buried, but they may be your only way out. The graphics on this trailer is stunning, and the soundtrack gives me A24 horror movie vibes. It looks like what would happen if a Resident Evil game took place in the rainforest. I'm not sure if we're battling against zombies or a tribe with supernatural entities. The release date is still listed as to be announced with an initial window of Q4 of 2025. This window is closing quickly, so here's hoping for a Q1 2026 release. The Twilight Project is developed and published by Teapot Studio. It's only available on Steam and Epic Games for now, with no mention of console release.
There's nothing we can do.
Retrieval. Join Hannah Loesch on a perilous journey into darkness, uncovering dark secrets and facing its deep drama story full of terrifying challenges on the distant planet Ryhalion. Dive into a deep narrative filled with unexpected twists, exploring themes of friendship, love, loyalty, and horror. This game is calling out to all sci-fi horror fans. After watching Event Horizon and playing games like Dead Space, I think we can all agree that space as a setting in horror is absolutely terrifying. I'll welcome any addition to the genre with open arms. The trailer looks more gory than most on this list, which is sure to add to the unease and tension. Retrieval is set to release sometime in 2026 on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series. It's done by 333 Studios.
What is that behind you?
EXP War Trauma. You are completely helpless. Your only weapon is your intelligence. Explore a mysterious and strange apartment. Solve riddles, and most important of all, when the countdown starts, be quick. EXP War Trauma is a psychological horror experience about the traumas of a soldier from World War II. This title gives me the same vibes as Silent Hill 4. The room that you're confined in is ever evolving as you're tormented by your past. The demo is already available on Steam, and the release date is listed as coming soon. I'm really hoping to see some movement on this game in the coming year. The subject matter screams psychological horror, and it looks fantastic. It's being developed and published by Cortez Productions.
Lord have mercy.
Directive 8020. From the creators of Until Dawn and The Quarry, Directive 8020 is an all-new cinematic sci-fi horror adventure that blends intense survival gameplay with meaningful choices and a branching storyline. Earth is dying and humanity is running out of time. 12 light years from home, Tau Ceti F offers a small sliver of hope. When the colony ship Cassiopeia crash lands on the planet, its crew soon realize that they are far from being alone. In space, death takes many forms. If you've never played these cinematic experience type games before and have an affinity for sci-fi, now's your chance to dive in. These are great couch games to play with friends or a significant other, or even on stream having your community direct the gameplay. Directive 8020 has been delayed and is now scheduled to be released in the first half of 2026. It was originally slated for October 2nd, 2025, but the developer, Supermassive Games, announced the delay to give the team more time to deliver the very best experience. The The game will be available on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. Ill. If you're into horror gaming, surely over the last year or so, Ill has popped up on your radar. From the looks of the tech demos and trailers, it brings a very stylish horror to the scene. If it actually releases, that is. There's been some speculation that the demos are not rendered in-game, and that the actual game will be nothing like what we've seen in the trailers. There's been no release date, and the game has been in development hell for some time. Only time will tell if Ill will live up to the hype it's created, or be another flop from overpromising and underdelivering. I'm seriously rooting for this game, and I hope it's the former rather than the latter. It's the first title released and published by Team Clout Inc. Blight Survival. Medieval zombies. Alright, pack it up. What, you need more? Because that was all I needed to be excited for this title. Blight Survival is a PvE action horror game set in a brutal medieval world. Play solo or team up with 3 friends as you face monsters and men in this intense battle for survival. There's no confirmed release date for Blight Survival at this time. The developers, Henier Studio, has stated that it's too early to tell, and a realistic release is likely no sooner than 2027. It's published by Behavior Interactive, the makers of Dead by Daylight. Initial development plans have changed, the game's still in progress. It's expected to launch first on PC, followed by releases on PS5 and Xbox Series. Paranormal Activity Threshold. You may have your own opinion on the Paranormal Activity films, but the first one was one of the most successful found footage films ever made. So here's hoping they bring some of that success to the game. It's being built by Brian Clark and Darkstone Digital, the same folks who gave us The Mortuary Assistant. The trailer appears to have captured the vibe of the first movie and is sure to bring some truly tense moments. I'm curious to see exactly how this is turned into a game. Hopefully it won't be much longer until we find out. There's no exact release date, but it's slated for 2026, and while it's listed on Steam already, I couldn't find any info on console releases. End of Abyss. This game has a thick, oozing atmosphere to the point where you almost have to catch your breath just watching the trailer. The top-down style is lending itself to some great-looking claustrophobic events. The enemies in the game make it that much more horrifying. They're unrelenting, and killing one merely splits it in 2, and so on and so on. The pairing of an unknown organic threat and technological sci-fi gadgets is a classic mashup. In the depths of a mysterious underground compound, a mission to investigate disturbances of unknown origin spirals into a harrowing descent through a broken and abandoned world. Play as the young combat technician, Cell, as she uncovers the truth behind the facility's derelict areas and confronts the monstrous creatures that roam them. End of Abyss is slated to come out in February of 2026, and it's being developed by Epic Games. Since it's Epic Games, it'll likely stay an Epic Games Store exclusive.
A lot of rumors about the lake. Do you personally believe that there's something sinister hiding in there? No, of course not. People love ghost stories, but in the end, they're just stories. Just stories. Just stories. Just stories. Just stories. Just stories.
Drowned Lake. When Bento, an amateur documentarian, vanishes, 3 strangers are drawn to the drowned lake to find him. As the lake's dark past comes to light, so do the secrets buried deep within them. Explore, survive, and investigate the dark waters in this fishing survival horror game. This game has all the Silent Hill vibes one could ask for. The soundtrack is very Akira Yakamura, and it's an interesting take being both top-down and first-person. I love the glitchy visuals and decrepit backdrop. From my understanding, it's in the same universe as their other game, which is a found footage horror game, Teleform, which is free to play right now. I didn't see a solid release date, but the developers, Monumental Collab, are currently playtesting, so I'd expect a release in the next few months, if not weeks. It's being published by Critical Reflex.
Did you forget what happened on that night? This place remembers, and so do I.
Liminal Point. Liminal Point is a top-down survival horror and almost feels as if Claire Redfield entered Silent Hill. From what we could see in the trailer, it looks like we're getting a puzzle-focused game with grotesque monsters. You play as Lyra, who gets a message from Mira, who I assume is the lead singer of their band. From what I gather, a tragedy struck the band, and I'm guessing it's going to play into some themes of survivor's guilt while searching for answers. It looks like a fantastic addition to the survival horror genre, and I love that it has the feel of a retro survival horror with updated camera angles and graphics. Liminal Point is developed and published by Hideworks and has a TBA release date in 2026, coming out on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series. Hellbound Inc. Hellbound Inc. isn't a horror game per se, but I think the setting fits with the theme of the list, and now, at the middle of the list, is a good time for a little break from the dark tones and unsettling backdrop. Hellbound Inc. is an infernal platformer where you jump and carry packages to deliver against time, demons, and HR. Play as an undead courier trapped in a fulfillment center recently purchased by Satan himself. You're the newest hire in Hell's most infernal logistics startup. Your job? Deliver cursed packages across treacherous warehouse zones, dodge deadly traps, solve infernal puzzles, and make sure everything arrives on time. In Hell, missing a delivery deadline is eternal damnation again. It's a cutesy platformer, and I'm sure there won't be any real scares in this one, but I love the art style and I'm making this video, so I'm including it. The release date for the game is August 27th, 2026. It'll be available on Steam only. It's being developed and published by Templo and Rewilder. Alright, back to the dreary, dark, and horrifying titles.
For here, no one escapes judgment. Not the living, nor the dead.
Becrowned. Becrowned is taking notes from both Silent Hill and Resident Evil, but not the modern-day versions of these titles, the retro ones, and they've completely nailed it. It looks like the fixed camera angles are not included in this one, which is a huge plus for me. I love those games, but that's one game mechanic I'm always happy to see done away with. I love that the main character, Richard Torrance, is a nod to The Shining. Little details like that go a long way in a horror game and will likely have people scouring the game for more Easter eggs. The write-up on the game touts that it has leaned in heavily on multiple endings and offers you choices which will greatly influence your storyline. This is going to add a lot in terms of replayability. There hasn't been an official set release date, but there's a demo you can play right now on Steam. It's being developed by 13th Street Studios and will be published by Top Hat Studios Inc. I hate this place. I absolutely love the style of this game, and I think it brings some truly unique looks to the world of survival horror. We've seen comic book stylized graphics in games before. It makes sense too, because it's based on a comic book of the same name. I've never read it myself, but the subject matter is right up my alley. A quick check of the synopsis shows that it could be any number of X-File-esque encounters. I really love how some of the sounds within the game provide this comic book style text. It really does a good job of feeling like a comic book that comes to life. Scavenge and build to survive terrifying days and nights while using stealth and noise to fight enemies that stalk by sound. It's developed by Rock Square Thunder and published by Feardemic. This title's scheduled for release on January 29th, 2026 on all major platforms. The Midnight Walkers. 2026 will finally bring horror extraction shooters, so if you're like me and had a minor interest in games like Arc Raiders and Escape from Tarkov, we'll finally have a couple of games to call our own. In Midnight Walkers, Mr. Nobody has set up a deadly game show type of thing, which is part Survivor, part Squid Game, and part Extreme Elimination Challenge. He and his cronies take bets on who will die next and who will escape. It all takes place in the Liberty Grand Center, where you either enter solo or with trios and fight zombies and other contestants, all while trying to obtain the best loot, which can only be kept if you survive. Extraction gets trickier the longer you stay, as each floor is systematically filled with a toxic gas that slowly kills you. This leads to some intense endgame as whoever survives to the last floor meets and either teams up or kills each other for their loot. It's a great take on the extraction shooter, and I love the post-apocalyptic style. And it looks like cosmetics will be a huge part of your drive to survive. It's slated for release in 2026 for Steam only, and it's being developed and published by One Way Ticket Studio. Welcome to Dolltown. In Welcome to Dolltown, explore a cursed village where lifelike dolls roam. Uncover dark secrets, solve eerie puzzles, and survive the haunted dollhouses to escape a twisted nightmare. Once a bustling village known for exquisite handcrafted dolls, Dolltown now rots in silence and shadows. Abandoned factories, empty schools, and forgotten shrines are all that remain, haunted by memories of the students who perished here years ago. You play as Yumi, a student who takes a part-time job at the town's only convenience store, unknowingly stepping into a nightmare that refuses to stay buried. As the line between reality and dream dissolves, Yumi must uncover the truth behind the deaths, the cursed dolls, and the macabre love story that destroyed the town. The style for this game is pretty unique, with a low-poly look that's almost black and white. It's a good choice because it makes the use of color really stand out when it matters. It's being developed and published by Bad Wish Games and has a release date of February 13th, 2026, exclusively through Steam. No Vacation for an Executioner. No Vacation for an Executioner is touting PS2-style graphics and controls. It's set in the Baroque era, complete with waistcoats and harpsichords. It's a horror ARPG about a frustrated executioner in the late 17th century. He ran away from the gallows and aroused a riot of monsters that he is tasked with cleaning to find out the truth about this crazy world. The write-up is very particular about the controls and the style of combat, stating the control style is that of Resident Evil 4 and Silent Hill for the PS2. It's also got a focus on cosmetics, so you can look your Sunday best while battling an onslaught of monsters using your sword and pistol. It's an indie game developed and published by J.O. and it's slated for release in 2026 on Steam only. There's a 45-minute demo you can try right now to see if it's something you're into.
Listening to the echoes of a written story. See.
Beautiful Light. This is the second horror extraction shooter on the list. I'm seeing a ton of horror influence in this one, from Alien to Death Stranding and even Annihilation. But of every game on this list, the trailer is one of the most stunning. It looks like if X-Files had their own SWAT team that was sent out for each encounter throughout the world. The game features a, quote, PvPvPvE dynamic. The extra P is because you can also play as an anomaly and hunt the squads. From the trailer, we could see tight quarters like office buildings and open-world encounters from oceans to deserts and beyond. You're entering each match with 6 squads of 3, all in search of unique artifacts and looting the area for materials used in crafting weapons and gadgets. If they're able to pull off even a fraction of the kind of action we're seeing in the trailer, I'm certain this title will do well. It's being developed by Deep Worlds SA and is set to release in December of 2026 on PC first, with the release on PlayStation and Xbox depending on how well the game's received. It's a full year off, but if it's done right, this will be well worth the wait.
On my mark. 5, 4,
John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. At first I had to check this wasn't an obscure John Carpenter movie adaptation that somehow slipped through the cracks for me. It's not, by the way. It's a new IP from the mind of John Carpenter, who's written the story and also provided the score for the game. The plot follows the aftermath of an experiment gone wrong, trying to harness the power of the Earth's core, only to unleash the Sludge God and all of their minions. To right the wrongs, a team of competent, highly trained commandos is needed to get the job done, but they're not in the budget, meaning the fate of the world lies in the hands of the Toxic Commandos. The trailer features a ton of weapons, snarky remarks from your teammates, and drivable vehicles. I'm not sure how right I'll be on this, but from what I can tell, this game looks like Borderlands meets Evil Dead. It's developed by Saber Interactive and is published by Focus Entertainment. The game is set to be released in 2026 for PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series. Valor Mortis. We've been seeing a lot of Souls-like games popping up trying to capture the success of Dark Souls. Many of them look pretty similar in style, but Valor Mortis has taken it into a completely different direction. You play as a Napoleonic soldier killed in action and risen from the grave. You have supernatural powers to battle against the onslaught of horrifying monsters while getting to the bottom of a conspiracy that threatens the world as we know it. Explore beyond the dark corners of the world and discover the truth behind the plague in your unholy resurrection. The trailer really plays out like a scene from a horror movie I love to watch. It's developed by One More Level and is published by Lyrical Games. Another game where we don't have a solid release date, but it is expected within the next year or so on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. Shift at Midnight. Alright, bear with me here. I know the graphics aren't the best you've seen, but you gotta admit, the concept is pretty unique and it sounds like a blast. We've been seeing a ton of these simulator games come out lately, from harvesting crops on tractors to owning and maintaining a card game shop. But what if we add a bit of Papers, Please and body horror into the mix? That's Shift at Midnight. Stock shelves, clean up messes, and ring people out, but not before you check their ID to see if they are who they say they are. If something doesn't add up, it's up to you to tell whether or not you let them leave with their goods or leave it all. To add to the madness, this game has up to 3-person multiplayer, so you can all survive the chaos together. This one is developed by Bun Muon and published by Quali and is coming out on Steam in Q2 of 2026. SOS Forgotten Planet. Have you been looking for an excuse to learn Morse code? The concept of this game is actually pretty unique in that the interactions within the abandoned lab must take place using Morse code. It also uses your knowledge of Morse code as a difficulty enhancer from someone who's never used Morse code to the hardened veteran. The game is entirely procedurally generated, meaning each time you play it, it's a completely different experience. The developer, Risky Biscuit Games, has been streaming the development process of the game on Twitch and encourages feedback from the community. It features scavenging and crafting to help you as you navigate through an abandoned laboratory. I personally enjoy the cel-shaded look of the game as it gives this retro look. We don't have an official release date on this one yet, but the Steam page says it's slated for 2026. Nightmare House. This game might not necessarily be new to you. It was originally a Half-Life 2 mod that kind of blew up in popularity, so the creators of the mod decided to make a part of it into a standalone game. You rely solely on your trusty axe while you explore the house, as you search for an exit that may not even exist. Solve puzzles and defeat the evils that are hell-bent on destroying you. The trailer shows some really awesome scenes that they've made with the Unreal 5 engine. The Poltergeist vibes have me thinking this one's definitely going to get under your skin. Even if you've played the original, they revamped the lore and it sounds like they've come at this project from the ground up. If you're like me and haven't played it, then I think it's time we see what all the commotion was about. Nightmare House was developed by We Create Stuff and published by Black Lantern Collective. The release date is listed as coming soon on Steam.
Damn dream again.
Decadent. Decadent will be a first-person action occult-focused horror game where you play as John Lorne, a royal explorer and veteran of the Great War. He's headed to the Arctic on a path he knows well, searching for clues regarding a lost Miskatonic University expedition. John is a parasite as a result of an occult experiment, and it takes shape as an eye residing on the back of his hand. He's also suffering from disillusions. He can't tell the difference between his nightmares and reality. The game draws inspiration from Lovecraftian horror, and what really stands out to me is that John appears equally proficient at both firearms and magic. That duality, paired with his fractured perception of reality, means that the line between good and evil is constantly blurred throughout this story-driven experience. Developed by Incantation Games and published by Fulgrim Publishing, we only have a release date listed as coming soon on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series. Paranormal Tales. Every October there are two movie staples that are a must-watch for me. Hell House LLC and the newest installment of the VHS anthology. So I'm excited to see more than one title on this list that features found footage as the main concept of the game. I'd love to see a yearly installment of found footage games like VHS does, so maybe Paranormal Tales could take that role. Anyways, the game features hyper-realistic imagery as you experience and play through multiple tragic tales of those who went missing from the viewpoint of body cams, phones, and VHS cameras. We don't have a lot to go off so far, as the trailer appears to be a snippet of a man looking for their dog Teddy, and encounters a female presence who follows him while he takes refuge in an abandoned house. Do you have what it takes to play through the end of the footage? It's developed and published by Digital Cybercherries, and the release date is listed as to be announced on Steam. After Lights Out. Remember the movie Lights Out and how the main entity relies on the dark to traverse the area? Okay, now put yourself in that position where you wake up in a strange house, and instead of just having the darkness determine where the monster will show up, it also determines the layout of your surroundings. The game's designed to prey on the fears you used to have, or maybe you still do, when you turn off the light in the basement and feel the need to outrun some potential evil chasing you. In this story, you'll be piecing together clues and determine that you are a journalist pursuing leads on a missing person case involving twin sisters who have disappeared from the house. You even have your own dedicated corkboard to pool all the clues and try and make sense of this disappearance. It's developed and published by POQI Studio. The release date is listed as coming soon on Steam. Frame Zero. Speaking of movies, have you ever watched the movie Wreck and thought, I want to experience this firsthand in a video game? Yeah, me too. And now we have Frame Zero. Following the death of renowned exorcist Father Gabriele Amorth, journalist Emma Sullivan and her cameraman Daniel Foster visit his apartment complex. Navigate the haunted building and uncover the truth before you suffer the same fate as Father Amorth. It's being developed and published by Deolar, and this isn't their only game on the list. The Occultist from earlier is also done by them. I tried to look up platforms or storefronts it'll be released for, and could only find that it's being developed for PC. From what I've found, it looks like we won't have access to this game until 2027, but the trailer looks awesome, so here's hoping for a Q1 release. Dark Fracture. Dark Fracture takes advantage of a setting that quite frankly I'm amazed hasn't been used yet. A decomposition research facility, or in other words, a body farm. Pretty terrifying in its own right, but from the trailer it looks like we'll also be traversing a whole other dimension or nightmare as well. Some of the scenes from the trailer are quite unsettling. The game features dual wielding, a sanity meter, physics-based puzzles, and procedurally generated paranormal events which lead to unique experiences with every playthrough. The developers proudly mentioned their aesthetic was influenced by H.R. Geiger, who defined the visual identity of the Alien movie universe. Developed by Twisted 2 Studio and published by Feardemic, this game has been in development for a while. Their official YouTube has been posting teasers and trailers for about 5 years now. There's a playable demo on Steam, but no concrete release date has been set as of yet.
Agni, Kak, ini Lila, Kak. Ayo pulang. Lila mau pulang.
Agni, Village of Calamity. Agni, Village of Calamity has some truly cinematic elements going on. It also has a strong female protagonist, which is great that we're seeing more of recently, especially in horror. This trailer gives me the heebie-jeebies on a whole other level. Play as Agni, a determined investigator from a covert Indonesian police unit who defied orders and ventures into a remote village despite ominous warnings. What begins as an unauthorized investigation quickly plunges Agni into a horrifying reality that shatters her understanding of everything she knows. Developed and published by Separa Interactive, the release date only states that we'll be seeing this title in 2026.
He's nearing now. And run that I might. There is no escape from the man behind the light.
Ritual Tides. We don't have a lot of info on Ritual Tides, but if you visit their website and watch some of their YouTube videos, you'll see this is a passion project of a lot of well-seasoned game devs who have worked for companies like Rockstar Games. What we do know is that the game will take place on a fictional British island, teeming with Lovecraftian horrors, where your only goal is to explore the island and uncover the secrets it holds. The devs are really focused on making each encounter unique, and they're paying particular attention to making the game mechanics and art style memorable. Looking through some of the concept art and development process, you can see that they're succeeding. They had an initial release window of Q3 of 2025, but seeing as that's passed, we can only hope it'll be available in the coming months. They're targeting the release for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series. It's being developed and published by Vert Paint Limited. We Harvest Shadows. We already have Grave Seasons on this list as your Stardew Valley gone awry farming horror sim. But what if we took that same concept and made it first person and set it on a beautiful farm that spans acres? That's We Harvest Shadows. You play as Garrett, a city man who needs an escape and decides he'd be better off isolating himself on the farm to get away from it all. During the day, you're tasked with the day-to-day grind of running the farm and trying on the role of farmhand. However, once the sun goes down, everything changes and you're faced with the horrors of the unknown out in the shadows of the vast farmland. This game appears to be an indie dev passion project, and the love for it shows in the trailers, as well as the developer's personal YouTube channel that he regularly updates with game news and the life of a dev. It's developed and published by David Whaley, and the release date is yet to be announced on Steam. Beneath the Frost. I'm getting some serious The Thing vibes from this trailer. The isolation, the snow and ice, the terrifying evil that lurks just outside your safe zone. Or maybe it's inside already. You're trapped inside your downed spaceship. You utilize a robot companion and try to scavenge parts around the station so you can build an emergency beacon to try and signal for help and get off the planet. Help couldn't come soon enough because some of the imagery in the trailer suggests that something truly sinister is happening. Severe weather reshapes the environment in real time, opening new areas and bringing hidden elements to the surface. This game is described as short, but just because it's short doesn't mean it's not going to pack a punch. Developed and published by Not a Sailor Studios, it's listed as coming soon on Steam. Psycho Dead. In Psycho Dead, a third-person survival horror game, you play as Alexia, a psychic with telekinesis abilities. Your objective is to escape confinement from a secret lab that's swarming with grotesque and monstrous creatures. Wield a variety of psychic abilities to survive and overcome challenges. Unleash a forceful blast with the power of a bullet. Use telekinesis to manipulate and hurl objects at high speed, cause enemies to implode under immense pressure, and create barriers to block and counter attacks. Face off against dreadful stalkers, twisted creations born from sinister experiments. These relentless creatures possess unique abilities, making them formidable foes who will stop at nothing to hunt you down. I'm getting some serious Mr. X vibes from the trailer, almost as if Resident Evil were specifically a sci-fi horror game. It's being developed and published by Moon Catalyst Company, and there's a demo to check out right now. But so far, we only have a release date listed as 2026 on Steam. Broken Veil. In Broken Veil, you play as a young boy in a desperate search to find his mother. Set in a post-Soviet provincial Russian town, you must make your way through the faceless horrors in your search. However, you're not alone. There's a population of cats in the town that'll help you if you use a laser pointer to give them direction. They can aid in solving puzzles and reaching places you're not able to go yourself. Journey from dizzying heights to suffocating crawl spaces as you push towards your goal. Every location is packed with puzzles, hazards, and dangers shaped by their environment. Only quick thinking, agility, and raw nerve will see you through, if you can keep the fear at bay. Developed and published by Sinistrum Games, there's a demo available on Steam you can play right now, but the release date so far is only listed as to be announced. Project Spectrum. Project Spectrum is described as a free-to-play asymmetric PvPvE tactical thriller shooter. Players manage a team of agents deployed into the mysterious reality-warped Ember Zones. Satisfying gunplay meets a mesmerizing high-style world. But beware, unspeakable horrors lurk within. There isn't a lot to go on in this game yet. The 3-minute trailer features some truly tense moments with dripping, ceiling crawling, phasing anomalies, and some excellent sound design. There's no official store pages as of yet, but the website's up and the links to the socials are there if you want to follow their progress. I couldn't see any info on what platforms this will be released for, but either way, it looks awesome and I'm excited to see more. Pinnacle Point. A dark, 90s-inspired psychological cosmic horror set on a remote island. You play as Aaron, returning years after an ill-fated expedition and haunted over abandoning his brother. Aaron has unrelenting dreams about his brother, who seems to be beckoning him back. Uncover the secrets of the island, confront the horrors awakened, and face those who seek to control its power. I'm really enjoying these throwbacks to the retro-looking games on this list. It shows just how much influence these games had on the developers. Low poly graphics certainly do not equate to a low scare factor. Developed and published by Ready to Run, the release date is currently listed as to be announced, with a playable demo available on Steam.
What do you say?
Project Songbird. In this title, you take control of a musician named Dakota who's struggling with writer's block. Looking for an escape and hoping for inspiration, she takes a trip to a remote cabin in the Appalachian forest to record new music. Things take a turn for the worse when something unnatural begins to make itself known. The woods were never empty. Take in this gripping tale, explore the natural environment and haunting dreamscapes, and fight to survive in this horror experience. The game features a cast of experienced voice actors with numerous recognized credits, helping bring the experience to life. You could tell from the write-up on the Steam page that this is a passion project, and I can't wait to check it out. Developed and published by Fire Games, Project Songbird is expected in Q1 of 2026 on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series. quite a ride. My initial thought was Pacific Drive, but on a bike, but when you see this trailer, you'll see that it's packed with all kinds of horror-inspired elements. I was getting vibes from Death Stranding, Alien, and Silent Hill. In quite a ride, you'll be exploring an ever-changing abandoned region that looks and feels like Chernobyl. You traverse the landscape on your bike while you're inundated with all kinds of anomalies. They float, stomp, and manifest themselves at you while you try to piece together the truth of this world. You have a mysterious phone sending cryptic clues to help you on your way. You'll need to keep that cardio going, because if you stop pedaling that bike, you become an easier target. Developed by Goodwin Games and published by Silver Lining Interactive, the release date is listed as to be announced on Steam. I Am Ripper. This game seems like it's going to be almost like LA Noire, but with strong horror vibes and set in a small British town in the year 1987. The world's just suffered an economic crisis. A forensically confirmed serial killer has been racking up his kill count, and you're the one tasked with bringing them to justice. Throughout the game, you'll be faced with critical decisions which change the outcome of your investigation. You must confront a series of gut-wrenching challenges, placing the fates of others in your hands. Find the forensics, reveal the secrets, and pursue the person responsible. The game features branching narratives, and each decision you make will ripple through your timeline and change the story in unique ways. The game focuses on high interactivity and will force you to pursue disturbing forensic analysis. Judging from some of the imagery in the trailer, this game is not for the faint of heart. Developed and published by White Paper Games, it has a release date that is yet to be announced. It'll be available on PC, on Steam, Epic Game Store, and GOG. Contaminant. In Contaminant, you step in the tragic shoes of Maria, the beloved granddaughter of the owner of a mysterious factory. You uncover the family secrets while facing up against brutal combat, twisted puzzles, and surreal realms of abominations. It's a third-person survival horror set in a post-Soviet reality. Curiosity is your only guide. Just don't expect doors you walk through to lead you back to safety. Not only do I love the surrealist approach to the level and character design, I'm also really digging the VHS aesthetic. I also tried to look up the soundtrack in the trailer, but came up empty-handed. It's got this late 80s goth feel to it, so if you know who it is, please let me know. Developed and published by Meat Bicycle, the release date is listed as 2025 in the trailer, and coming soon on Steam. So, your guess is as good as mine. I'm just really hoping we see some action in this game in the coming months. Haunted Bloodlines. What if we took the mansion from the first Resident Evil game, but instead of zombies, it was the mansion itself stalking your every move? Because it's alive. And also there's nothing to defend yourself with except distance from whatever's hunting you. Featuring a sanity system, realm-crossing abilities, and time-altering puzzles, this game is definitely bringing a lot to the table. Discover the mansion's tragic family secrets and uncover the horror that resides within the walls. Developed by Horrified Triangles and published by i5 Games and Serafini Productions, creators of the BrokenLore series. The release date is listed as coming soon on Steam, and I also found that they're targeting a PlayStation release as well.
Come on, come on. Come on, come on.
Eyes Never Wake. So what if you need a little more immersion in your horror game? Maybe you don't have readily available access to VR. Well, I got some good news for you. Eyes Never Wake takes advantage of your webcam and uses it as a controller, putting you directly into the game. If the monster sees your face in the frame, it's not going to end well, so you better duck out of view. Physically. As if that wasn't enough, you better keep quiet as well, because not only is the monster looking for your face through the webcam, it's also listening for the smallest squeak coming from your microphone. Lore-wise, it seems as though you're playing a game you're not supposed to, leaving you in a backroom type of place by clipping out of bounds. This one's coming from a solo dev, Alan Headland, and the release date is currently listed as coming soon on Steam.
Please! Over here! Come, talk to me first! I can explain what's going on!
Ontos. The next release from Frictional Games, the developers of the beloved Amnesia franchise and the sci-fi horror game Soma. Frictional Games have a solid command on the horror genre, and it looks like they're poised to unleash yet another sci-fi horror game onto the world. Set on the repurposed moon of Samsara, you must uncover cryptic experiments, face unsettling encounters, and piece together a mind-bending narrative. The deeper you go, the more truth unravels as you confront the ultimate question: what is reality? As you delve deeper, guided by fragments of your father's cryptic legacy, you must confront disturbing revelations about the nature of existence and your place in it. Ontos presents a gauntlet of chilling experiments and disturbing encounters that push the boundaries of both science and morality. If you've played Soma in the Amnesia series, you know Frictional Games is about to drop another hard-hitting, narrative-driven classic. It's set to release in 2026 on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series. The Day I Will Die. Trapped in a misty valley of endless time loops, confront echoes of your childhood and creatures from old tales and legends. Explore forgotten paths stirring subconscious fears, face nightmarish foes and uncover a story of fading dreams and shadows of adulthood. In the hidden corners of the valley, you recognize places from your childhood. Forest trails, stone bridges, they awaken memories, old dreams, past fears, unfulfilled ambitions. The Day I Die is a first-person action thriller with a dynamic, varied combat system. Using a diverse arsenal of weapons, you will confront enemies shaped by your childhood fears and dark legends of the past. As you traverse the valley, step by step, you draw closer to understanding what truly happened and what still waits behind the veil of mist. In the end, you will also face what we have created within ourselves as adults. Developed and published by Lost Lighthouse Games, The Day I Will Die is set to release sometime in 2026 on Steam.
Good evening, Noah. Having trouble sleeping again?
Cthulhu: The Cosmic Abyss. We're finishing off this list with a trailer that's just wild, and not for those who have thalassophobia or megalophobia. Obviously features staples of Lovecraftian horror, but also adds in elements of cyberpunk. The year's 2053. You play as Noah, an agent of the Unkiele, tasked with investigating a missing mining crew from the depths of the Pacific Ocean. You have an AI companion named Key to aid you in your journey, and you're going to need all the help you can get. The miners have ended up in Re'elie, a massive underwater city that keeps Cthulhu imprisoned. As Noah enters this realm, he's under constant psychic pressure from Cthulhu, driving him ever closer to madness. Developed by Big Bad Wolf and published by Nacon, it'll be released on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series sometime in 2026. Well, there you go. 66 upcoming horror titles for you to sink your teeth into in the coming months. There are a couple more I could have added, but I think this is a nice, completely not evil number to stop at. I'll add these honorable mentions and anything that slipped past me after I made the video to my blog post on thezypod.com. If you've made it this far, that tells me you're an absolutely hardcore horror game fan. Thank you so much for watching. And hey, I stream 100% horror games on Twitch and YouTube. So if you want to turn any part of this video into a conversation, consider subscribing so you can catch me live for a chat. I'll definitely be diving into a few of these games on stream. I'm always happy to talk about anything horror, whether it's games, movies, books, comics, music. And before you go, let me know in the comments which game you're most excited about, or if I missed something you think I should check out, or if I brought one to your attention that you've never seen before. If you don't mind hitting that like button, it'll help out the channel a lot, I think. I'm pretty new to making videos like this, so I hope I did it justice enough for that. Almost all music was provided by Carl Casey and White Bat Audio. He provides royalty-free music to any creator, and all he asks for in return is attribution, so give him a listen. His entire catalog is just awesome. Anyways, thanks again for hanging out, and I hope I see you in the next one.